Hello, my name is Gustavo Ramirez, and I'll be presenting the forward lunge analysis. So, for the movement description, the dumbbell forward lunge is a dynamic unilateral exercise that serves mainly as a step up from the static split squat. It occurs primarily in the sagittal plane around the medial lateral axis. When you start from a standing position and take the first step, you enter a deceleration phase. This involves a triflexion pattern where the hip, knee, and ankle all at once flex. As the lead foot strikes the floor, the body has to manage both your momentum and gravity before pushing back. Returning to the starting footprint adds a major balance and coordination challenge that you do not really get with the stationary lunges. This is mainly because you're moving forward and you're using your legs and the hip at the same time, rather than just standing in the same position while doing your other type of lunges. And for your joint mechanics in the lunge are mostly about the length of the moment arms. During the descent, external torque hits its peak when you're at the bottom of the movement, especially when the lead thigh is parallel to the floor. At this step, the horizontal distance between the dumbbells and the joint centers of the hip and knee gets at its maximus point. While both joints are loaded, the knee joint usually takes most of the mechanical stress. This is mainly because of the breakage stop going forward. The momentum that you bring puts a lot of stress. The quadriceps and patellar tendons both have to generate high internal force to counteract the shear forces that are pulling the femur forward. Next is the muscle function and activation. The primary movers for the lunge and the gluteus maximus and the quadricep group, which includes the rectus femoris and the three vasti muscles. You can see the vastus lateralis and the medius labeled as key extensors. Synergists like the hamstrings and your adductor magnus help stabilize the hip, while your core and your gluteus medius keep the trunk from swaying. In other words, it helps you stay in place and not be any type of movement. Your joint position really changes which muscles work harder. An upright torso increases the torque at the knee, but the slight forward trunk lean shown in the image shifts the workload towards the gluteus maximus and the posterior chain. Active or passive insufficiency. A unique biomechanical limit in the lunge involves the rectus femoris, which is a biarticular muscle crossing both the hip and the knee. During the upward motion, during the upward phase, this muscle can experience active insufficiency. As you stand up, the rectus femoris tries to shorten at the hip and the knee at the same time. This puts the muscle in an overly shortened state where the protein filaments overlap too much to produce strong force. And this is why it has a harder time generating power compared to the vastus muscles, which only cross the knee joint and stay at a more efficient length. This puts the muscle on the weak end, actually, of the left tension curve, reducing its ability to generate any type of maximal force compared to the single joint quadriceps. Stretch shortening cycle. So for the stretch shortening cycle, the forward lunge is a great example of it. The second the lead foot hits the ground, the muscles and your tendons undergo a rapid eccentric stretch that slow you down. This loading phase stores elastic energy like a stretch rubber band, so if you push back to the start immediately, that same stored energy is recovered and added to your muscle contraction. This makes the move more powerful and efficient, and also if you pause at the bottom for too long, that energy just turns into heat, and you have to rely purely on your voluntary muscle strength to get back up. Any risk injuries is really just your knee, where the knee collapses inward toward the midline. Biomechanically, this puts a lot of stress on your knees and even on your ACL. The gluteus maximus has to act as a stabilizer to prevent this type of move. So to keep things safe, you should focus on your dragging the knee over directly the second and third toes, keeping the knee aligned and the pelvis stable protects the joint, and ensures that you're using your muscles effectively. So any type of movement that makes your knee overextend can really damage, so it's better to prevent it.